Okay, well, welcome to the show, and I have a very special guest tonight. And it's Coach Craig Cicardo, and Craig, I feel like I've known you for a long time, but I don't really know you.
That's right.
You know, and
Yes.
I've been following you now on social media for a while now, and watching all your videos, listening to your motivational messages, seeing your coaching career, and I think I know you, which is really cool. And I think the impact you're making, the things you're doing are really neat, and I can't wait for people to find out all about you. And I'm sure there's thousands of people out there that already know you from your great history and your career. But if you don't mind, let's just tell the world a little bit about yourself, who you are.
Well, first off, I appreciate them kind words, and having the opportunity, and you asking me to come on. It's really an honor. This is the first one that I've actually done. I was asked in the past as an assistant coach and things like that, and I didn't think I was the one that should be representing a program talking and things like that. But I've been coaching since 1989. I played high school football I played three sports, but I played high school football at Lacey Township High School. Um, then I went on, and my first year, I thought I could, but I couldn't walk on at Pitt. I wanted to, Dan Marino was the man, and I wanted to go play quarterback at Pitt, but that didn't happen. I came home, uh, and played at FDU,
Yep.
and met a lot of great teammates, had a pretty good career, and that was one of the funnest times of my life playing college football there at FDU up in it's now Florham Park. We called it Madison. From there, I left right away. I graduated in January or December, and in January I went down to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and I was fortunate to get a graduate assistant job at McNeese State University, which is in the Southland Conference there. It's FCS now. Um, and I had right after the season was over, and it's not like today you go on Football Scoop or whatever and look for a job. I went on NCAA News, and my coach called down there, and they're like, "Sure, if he wants to come on down and talk."
Come on
So
down.
I went down there, and a buddy of mine drove down with me, Kevin Wizrak, roommate and teammate, drove down. We drove down to Louisiana. I did the interview. On the way home, we stopped at the Stag Bowl in Phoenix, Alabama.
The
And
Alonzo Stag Bowl.
Yes, yep, and
Yep.
Division III championship, and got home and was home for a little bit, and then right before Christmas, I called. Name was Denzel Cox, the defense coordinator at McNeese. And I said, "Coach, any updates?" Or he's like, "Sure, you want the job? Come on down." I was like, "Dang, okay." And so then I ended up having to be down there by January 6th. So I drove down there and fell asleep in my car. The head coach knocked on my window at like 6 a.m. and said, "Coach, let's go." I said, "All right." And then I started learning how to coach. And I knew nothing. I knew less than I know now back then. And um, I happened to I met my wife of 34 years down there. And then, came home and realized that, maybe teaching and coaching might be best for the family. Uh, in raising a family. So I got a job up here. I became the um, head football coach at a modern day high school at the time in 1990. And I started teaching in the building in 91. I became the athletic director in 94. So I was the athletic director slash football coach for 6 years there. Um, and we had the opportunity to go to state final in 2000, and we lost to St. Joe's of Hamilton 6-0, which
Hmm.
stayed with me every day. And then I had the opportunity to go to public school, and Coach Russillo, the head coach at Lacey, was pushing me, talking about the public school pension and all those things. And so
Yep.
I was fortunate to be offered a position at Pinelands Regional High School, became the head coach there uh, from 2000 to 2003. And I had a great group of guys who just they called us together about 4 months ago. They wanted to get together because it's been a little while since we played together, and they were the first team in Pineland's history to make the state playoffs. So we just got together with the seniors, and that was really nice. And then from there, uh, I had the opportunity to get back to college football because that's what I really wanted, for the longest of times. And I was teaching at Pinelands and had the opportunity to coach at Monmouth University with Coach Kevin Callahan, who, he's just Coach Cal. He's one of the best around,
He's still
and
there.
what he's done at Monmouth is incredible. He's taken it from a Division III program to the Colonial Conference now, just that time there, that year I had there, um, helped so much. But then uh, my high school coach called, who is like the closest to me in the world as
Yeah.
family, Lou Versillo at Lacey, and they had struggled a little bit that year, and you know I had said no many times when he wanted me to come back there and start the public school program, my public school career, and this and that, and so I finally gave in. I wasn't a head coach anymore. I'd been a head coach for 14 years from when I was 24 years old. Um, and I said, you know what, I got to do this. And went with Coach in 2005 to 2010 as the offense coordinator and the associate head coach. He let me run a lot of things. We were fortunate. We had a great time. We went 56-14 over the
Wow.
time. Won two South Jersey Group 3 championships at 12-0 teams. And it was just a great time, for both of us. And I'm speaking for him,
Yeah.
but uh, it was one of the best times. And then from there, I also had the opportunity to coach my son, who played quarterback for us. And then in 2011, I made the move back to college football. And that's where, I've been since. I've remained the dean of discipline at Lacey High School. Um, but I then left to go to TCNJ. I went to Kane University for a couple of years as the offense coordinator, went back to TCNJ and coached the quarterbacks there. And it got to a time where it was, I that being a high school educator, coaching part-time an hour away from home after like 6-7 years kind of wears on you a little bit. And I was fortunate. We practice at night at TCNJ because we shared the field with some other teams, and it was a great situation, and I loved the College of New Jersey. I loved that place. Um, However, it was time, and I wasn't really doing anything, and I get a call um, to go to meet up with this gentleman who started a program back in 2017 for junior college or community college students in New Jersey, because there's no junior college football in New Jersey.
Right.
And they're called the New Jersey Warriors, and the players come from Ocean County College, Brookdale, Mercer, Middlesex, Rowan at Burlington, Camden Community College, and all over New Jersey. We're kind of like a co-op. And
Yeah.
there was some I at first I was like, uh, it was Thanksgiving weekend. I was like, I don't know about this thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? I sat down, I thought about it. And I said, I know so many kids being affiliated with the Shore Conference for so long. I know so many Shore Conference kids that are at 27 years old sitting on a bar stool saying, dang, I wish I had an opportunity to play
Yeah.
college football. And I said, you know what? I think that's what this is about. And so here we are. I'm very fortunate to have that position. I'm very fortunate to have a great staff. And that's the history, Jeff, right
Yeah.
there. And
That
now,
that's a hell of a history. So I got a bunch of questions to ask you now.
absolutely.
Is that based on what you said? First of all, what was it like to coach your son?
It was something that I never wanted to do. I came back to Lacey to help coach. Honestly, I wanted to help
Mhm.
Coach V, and I wanted to get out and get back to college. I didn't want to coach my son. However, I had to, and um, the it was in the town that I grew up in, and it was interesting because some people, that for your life show you who you are sometimes when
Yeah.
the kid goes in as a sophomore and starts running all over the place, and then all of a sudden it's like, why is he in there?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's because we're up by 30, so we're gonna let well, sorry, he was a freshman. We're gonna let the freshman play, and of course, there's always that, he's playing because he's the coach's son, but I'm not the coach.
Right.
Granted, in you know, Coach V would go upstairs sometimes and just let me take care of things because that's how close we are, and I'm fortunate he had the trust in me to do those things. Um, but it was tough at times. Even when you're 12-0 and beating everybody by 3 touchdowns. We won every game that year by 3 touchdowns,
Wow.
or more. And we won the final 56-7 over Delsey. And most of our games probably could have been like that, but I'm not. I mean, I was on 55-0 end of losing,
Yeah.
and I would never be that guy that wanted to be, 55-0 on the winning. And we pulled our guys in the middle of the third quarter a lot because we were up by 3, 4 scores. And some coaches would, and some people would be like, "Wow, you're affecting their stats." Well, that doesn't matter to me. We're not
Right.
here about stats. We're about one stat, which is the W.
Yep.
And it's the right thing to do. But the state game, we let them stay in a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that was a special season, not to take away from 2006, where we had some great guys who nobody expected anybody from our team, and we went 12-0 that year as well with a tough nut. They were more of a blue collar type of team,
Yeah.
while in 2010, my son's team, they all had played together here in Lacey for years. They grow up playing together, but they were more white collar, alpha male, finesse type of guys.
Yep.
Could all over the place. We weren't big. There, one guy saw us walking. We always walked out in lines at 2 every day for practice. And one teacher one time said to me, he goes, I saw you guys walking out. And I'm like, this team's 5-0. And I'm like, yeah, they're 5-0, but they are pit bulls, man. They're gonna
Yeah.
gnaw at your calves and your shins, and they're just great football players. And that's what we had at Lacey. And I was very, very, very fortunate to be able to coach with Coach Vasillo during that. But like I said, even when you're 12-0, you're coaching your son, there's gonna be people like he's playing because he's the coach's son. And I never got involved in anything. They don't know what went on. I mean, he was the MVP of Ocean County. That he was the offensive player of the year for Ocean County that year.
Wow.
He won the MVP in the All Shore game, the Summer All Star game, and all those things. And I had nothing to say about those, but of course that would come into play. And I'll tell you what, sometimes even after it, some people that showed they were supportive at the time. Um, there was still a little tongue in cheek every once in a while. But you know what? It's okay. And I
It
understand.
comes with the territory.
And he understands it, and we went with it. But
Yeah. That's great.
um, it's because we're like this, what we talk about with everything.
Yeah.
Just stay focused and cover your ears and don't listen to the noise. And he was a pretty good player too. So
And did he go on to play in college too?
he did. He went to Rhode Island and played, and he was up there for 2 seasons. Then he transferred to TCNJ.
All right.
Up there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So like father, like son, QB.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
better than me though. He was a lefty and could run. I was a righty and I had no arm and I couldn't run. So
So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you, from a player side and a coaching side. First, you know, what made you decide, hey, and listen, why I want to play college football? Like what did you know in your high school career that, hey, yeah, I'm going to go on to the next level and play? How did you know that, realize that, and when did you decide that?
I fell in love with the game. I didn't play it till we moved to Lacey. And so I've been coming to this town to come, where I grew up for years, but I lived other places. And my number ones were basketball and baseball up until 6th grade, when a gentleman named Mr. Gross pulled me aside and said, hey, you should be playing football, when we moved into town permanently. And my parents, they let me play, and I fell in love with it. I was playing guard, defensive end, and then in 8th grade they moved me to quarterback. And I don't know why, because I threw ducks all over the place and everything else. But then my coach Tony Yetzi, he told me, I'll never forget. He goes, "That's why you're the quarterback." I go, "Why? Because I throw ducks, coach?" He goes, "No, because of what you just did. We were talking with the team and things like that." And he goes, "Because you're a leader." And I said, "Oh, okay." So, little things like that you remember. Um, it pumps you up, and then you get to high school, and then you start. Football takes you over,
Yeah.
and you love it. I mean, I've had plenty of players who played from when they were in kindergarten on, and they get to be a junior, and it's like, okay, where do you want to school? Where do you want to go to school? And often, many kids, especially from our town here in you know in Ocean County, New Jersey, they go, no, coach, I'm done. I've been playing since I was in
Yep.
kindergarten. I
Yeah,
just
they're
want to
worn
go to
out.
college and get on with my life, or I want to go get my job and get on with
Yep.
life. I'm done after my senior year. A lot of guys are like that. I'll tell you what, when it when it bites you, it's like a vampire, you know,
Yeah.
and and that's what flows through my blood, is the game, because it
Yeah.
took me over, and it's all I ever wanted to do, was play.
Yeah.
And then, when I couldn't play anymore, and because like I said, I was slow and had no arm, it was time to coach.
Coach. Well, so that's the next question is my opinion. And
Mhm.
I've coached little league stuff. I coached all three of my kids, all their stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I've never been a high school coach. I've never been a college coach. I would love to be a college coach. But when did you realize you had that calling? It's I think coaching is a calling. It's like you don't just wake up and say, I'm gonna go do that. Like
Mm.
it's a calling. And when did that happen? Because it's like right out of college, boom, you're into coaching. Like how did you know that's where you wanted to go and that's the profession you want to pursue?
Well, it was probably college football where that hit me, uh, because I learned so much about life from college football. And the thing that sold me was I was playing a position where, you need to know what everybody's doing. You need to
Yeah.
know what's going on. You know how they say, get your head in the game. You
Yeah.
always got to have your head in the game. You have to think for other people. I mean, I tell our quarterbacks now, if a receiver lines up wrong, it's your fault. Fix them before you start the cadence.
Yeah.
No, just things like that. And I grew up just playing. I don't have any other hobbies, uh, and I'm not into fixing things or, hammering nails.
Well, you like
Uh,
to ride the jet ski.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say that's the only, and I didn't want to waste time, but yeah, I love my jet ski. It's the one thing that gets me away from it.
I see you
Um,
out there.
yeah, I love that thing. Um, but I could not get out of the world of sports. And by that time in college, I just wanted to be in the world of football.
Right.
And I felt that's at the time, you're young. So this is all I could do. This is
Yeah.
all I could do. I don't know anything else. And I didn't know anything about coaching, but it was in the world of football.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to play if I couldn't run around and play it anymore. And the other thing was coaches, my coaches. I had some good ones. I was fortunate to have some good ones, uh, growing up in high school, and I saw what they did and the things that they taught us, and I said, you know what? I think that's more important than anything else. That's more important about your salary. That's more important than the success you have, climbing to be a CEO or anything like that. It's what you can do for people that and kids who may not know those things,
Yeah.
you know? Um, I was thinking about things like that today, about uh, how people act sometimes. And there's often coaches that are like, "Hey, you can't." They get on them right away and they
Yep.
rip them. They consequences and everything, without knowing that kid's life, that he was never taught that was supposed to be, that was
Right.
not something you're supposed to do,
Right.
because that's what he grew up with. However, in that world it might be okay, but in the world we're in, it's not, and we must show them the way.
Right.
We can't expect them to know these things without us presenting it to them.
Right.
And I find that more the most important thing about coaching is is that, I tell our coaches, you're the head coach of your position, And, I'm rarely going to step in, and during your drills and things like that, because, you better be prepared. But there's only one thing I'm going to micromanage. The only thing I'm going to micromanage is our team's culture and
Mm,
our beliefs and what we're going to talk to our kids about and how we're going to correct them constructively. You know what I mean? Um, it ain't there with the chaw in your mouth and spitting and cussing. And I mean, it's the same. I tell our guys we can't cuss. I tell our coaches we don't cuss at the kids.
it's
And I tell
big,
the kids that don't cuss at me because I ain't cussing at you.
right?
Your mama will want me cussing at you, so don't you be
Yeah,
cussing at me.
I'm doing you, right?
You
So,
know.
I think coaching is all about impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's impact you make on other people's lives. And coaching is also about winning,
Yep.
teaching the young and teaching people how to win, how to handle losing. But I think coaching also, this is for men and women, but just let's focus on the football world for a second. It's about turning these boys into men,
Mm-hmm.
right? And showing them how to be men when the game's over. If they
Yep.
choose to go on to college and play, great. If not, but now when they're in college, the guys you're working with, now you're going to show them how to be leaders of men,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Yep.
you turn high school boys into men, and then you turn college men into leaders of men.
Mm-hmm.
And though these guys on your teams, all these years, I can't imagine, like, if you put them all in one room, all the guys you've coached, I mean, in one gigantic room, you're going
Yeah.
to fill up a stadium.
Well, it would be fun.
It would be a lot of fun. Um, so split the screen:
Mm-hmm.
college player, college athlete, college coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
What lessons have you learned? If you go back to your college days, that hey, listen, man, as a college player, this is the biggest thing I pulled from playing college sports. But now over here as a college coach, what did you learn there?
Well, first off, as a player, I'm going to tell you the number one thing I learned is I am expendable.
Mm,
We all are expendable. And when I learned the definition of that word, which I didn't know till probably after college, but I learned this feeling is we are all easily replaced. And we don't like thinking that. And our mamas don't tell us that. And, everybody's told how important they are and everything else. But on
mm,
the other hand, they also tell them the minute you leave your job, they're going to have someone, come in and tell you all
yep,
those things, right? Well, that's the number one lesson I learned in college is, dang, I'm expendable. I'm easily replaced,
yeah,
which goes to why, if I separate a shoulder, I ain't telling anybody. I ain't, my arm's hanging, I ain't telling anybody. Because I'm not, if when I earned a spot, I wasn't losing it because of uh, something that I could probably go with. And it was it was important. I mean, I didn't. I like to joke, but I'm serious that we had three quarterbacks when I got to FDU, and I was eighth string. And then by the third game of the year, our coach, um, he put me in. Things weren't working out. The second guy got hurt, and he put me in, and then I held the position for another for 24 straight games. But the following year, we didn't start the season out too well, and he pulled myself and the other quarterback aside, and he said, "Listen, whoever we score with in there starts the rest of the year. Whoever scores first." I'm like,
yeah.
oh man. And I'll tell you what,
Pressure.
I'm lucky I handed the ball off and we had a great running back and he ran for a touchdown, or else I might not be talking to you right now. I might be selling insurance. But just the fact that there's a fine line. There's a fine line between having responsibility and not having responsibility. And having responsibility, in my mind, of being a quarterback is a privilege, and you got to live up to that. And there can't be, you can't be selfish. You got to be selfless. And you could say, well, not complaining about being injured is selfish, but no, it's not, because I believe what you're doing is you're doing everything that you need to do that is outside of yourself and doesn't make things that you are responsible for change. In other words, well, they're gonna have to bring another starter in. He might be better, but then they'd have to do different things and there'd be change. So I learned that fast, that we're very expendable. And that's carried on everywhere in life. That, and it's nice to say no, you're not, but I believe we are all easily replaced. And then when I became a coach, man, I'll tell you what, you learn a lot, that it's not young guys, they come out and they're screaming and yelling. They think that's what it's about, being a loud guy, and what it's not. It's also not about what you know. It's not about what you did. It's not about who you are. It's not about what your name is. It's not about what people think about you as a player or this or that or anything else. It's about what those kids know, not just football. It's about, like you said, don't use the word rules. We use the word standards. So, it's not telling them just what to do. It's telling them what we must do and how we must do it. And what I found through coaching, that has worked best for us. And when I say us, I mean the staffs that I was fortunate to be part of, for all the great staff I was fortunate to be part of, is just not having expectations for kids, but having, oh, well, you should be this and you should be that. No, we're telling them this is what we have to do together. And your role as this is this. And this is what you must do. It's not a goal. It's not an expectation. It's a must. We don't put up goals on a chart that says must gain 250 yards on the ground. No, we must secure the football. We must block. We must do our assignment.
Do your
It's
job.
about numbers and stats and things like that. It's about musts and responsibilities, and and to have a responsibility is a privilege. It's something that we strongly believe in. And I got to say, early on here, I had to say I a lot because I had to introduce myself, but I don't like using that word I. I like using we and us. So
Yep.
when I say that, I mean our staff and our coaches.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'll tell you, you know, you can just feel the coaching coming out of you right now. You know
Well,
what I mean? You're getting excited, which is great. And it tells you that I think when people get excited and emotional, it means they care,
well,
you know?
I appreciate that. I know even when I was younger, I was probably like this too much. I was like this in everyday life. I was like this at the dinner table. And it's funny, I had an assistant, Willie Ryan, back at Mater Dei one time, and somebody asked him one time, is he like this all the time? So one thing that personally had to do and learned and I do it now, and hey, I got my jet ski to help me, is it's not a balance. What it is, it's you step away to clear the head and allow you to be where you are when you're there. Some people, say it's where your feet are. Be where your
Right.
feet are. And when I'm away from the guys, when away from the team, when I'm away from the coaches, I give everything to my family, and that is the priority. When I'm at school, that is the priority, and give everything its due. And that's what we preach to our kids: is you're not a football player 24 hours a day. And I know, and people probably, oh, you're what are you talking about? And especially the coaches, from our day. But no, we tell our guys at least twice a week that when you're here for when you're between the lines for 2 hours, you're here. When you step away, you get home, You're doing your homework, you're there. Don't be drawing up football plays. Do your work.
Yeah.
When you're with your family at a family get together, you're with your family there. Give them all your attention, give them all your focus. When you're with your girlfriend, be kind, be a gentleman, and you spend that time with your girlfriend. No matter what you do at all times, you're a gentleman 3/4 of the time. But when we come between those lines, you put that gentlemanly thing aside and you get after it.
You get
And
going.
there's a time and place for everything. So be where your feet are. I love that saying, and right now it's slipping my mind where it came from, but I love it. Be where
Yeah.
your feet are,
Yeah.
and be as intense about the task you have at hand in that moment. And I even tell our guys, and what I put in my book years ago was, shoot, you throw the garbage out right. If you're gonna take if mom tells you to take the garbage out, well, don't lazily go over there, rip the bag. Make sure you take it out right, tie it up right. Make sure there's no liquid, that whatever nasty liquid is in the garbage,
Pouring
going on the floor as you're taking it out to the garbage. You want to try and do everything right, because it's not what you do. It's not that you're doing it. It's how you do it.
how you do it.
You do everything right, no matter what it is.
Awesome.
So yeah, when like now, when we're talking about when it's time to coach, it's time to coach. When it's time
Yeah.
to be a dad, it's time to be a dad. When it's time to be a husband, time to be a husband. And now when it's time to be a grandpa, you be a grandpa. you know, and I think you find that with some of the most successful people
Yeah.
out there, that they're able. It's like a turn on the light. The light goes
Yeah.
on, the light goes off. Wherever
Yeah.
you are, you leave that place, turn the light off.
Yeah.
The next place, turn it on. When you're done, turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's
Yeah.
it. So I hope did that
Yeah.
answer?
Yeah. That's great. But you mentioned your book. Yeah. I know
Yes.
you have two books,
Yes.
right? Well, let's just,
Self-published, Jeff, self-published.
that's okay, but rip it out there. Let people know about your books. Yeah, they're going to want to read them. Where can they get them? Let's talk about those for a second.
Well, it was a year I didn't coach, 2014, my son's senior year, playing in college, and I was off for the year, and I had to do something. But I was also taking I had to get up to 15 credits to get a master's plus 15 for the the pay guide.
Yeah.
So I took an online course for the first time in my life. It was the hardest course I ever took in my life, online, on how these kids do it online. Even my graduate school, I sat in a chair
Yeah.
in the front row. This way I could brown nose the teacher and
Yeah.
get a B if I was getting a C. But not this online thing. Holy cow!
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
spending 4 hours a day in the summer for 10 weeks on this.
Oh my
So
God.
in the meanwhile, I was putting together all my old notes. First book I wrote was Be Tough, but Don't Be a Tough Guy. And that was about leadership. And when I was done with that one, I still had time. It was August and had no football. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take all this stuff that we use, our standards and how we operate our football program, is going to put that in a book too. And it also had to do with, at the time I was, starting to really fall into the, be where your feet are, take care of now, right now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the past. It's about right now, because right now will affect the future, and it may also help correct some things in the past. But anyway, the book's called Right Now, and I actually wrote one for the business world, and then
Right.
changed the words for it for athletes. And so this is the one here. I got it for you to see. I don't know if you can see it. There
Yeah.
it is. But it's simply called Right Now, an athlete's way of life. And what it goes over is how to be a follower, believe it or not. And people don't like that word either. You know,
Well, it depends on who you're following, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Me personally, I was follower. I mean, they used to call me Richie Cunningham in high school.
Nah.
No, they didn't call me that in college, but they called me that in high school. And it's I broke it up into sections like like a coffee table book. It took me 2 hours to put all my notes together. It's 150 pages, and you know, section one, it's always right now. Section two, the journey. Because and then everybody talks about how it's about the journey, not the destination. It's about the doer, not the dreamer. Is section three. Be a doer,
Yeah.
not a dreamer. If you're going to dream, you better do. Um, and then section four is about mental strength.
There you go.
And I have 9 points. I talk about, hey, everybody wants to get in the gym and work out their body and do these lifts and work that body part out and things like that. Well, what about the mind? And so I have a series of I guess nine points that are a mental workout, just like you would go to the gym and do
Yeah.
and the thing is, you do these always,
Now,
not
do you
just.
have those 9 points listed out?
I got them right here. I can read them to you if you.
Yeah. Yeah. Love to hear them.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me. I did print it up so I could. I tried to do some research here, Jeff, because it's been a while since I wrote the book. So I went back. Believe it or not, I had to dig for a copy. I don't have any copies
All
here,
right.
and I'm going to send that to you. You want? I told you I'd get one to you, so I'm going to send this one to you. I found it. Number one, mental workout, Monday through Sunday. There's no off days for your mental workout.
Hmm.
Number one, it's not in doing it; it's in doing it right. And then I put it X, meaning how many times? Like you do 3 sets of 10.
Yeah.
So that would be X right now. Number two, seek perfection in everything you do times right now. And again, I don't want to go into it too deep, but that seeking perfection things bothers people. But if take the word perfection and see the word seek is in front of it.
Right.
I also use the word pursue perfection. And that's explained. Each one of these is explained
Yeah.
in the book. Number three is control expectations.
Hmm.
It was this part of my coaching time that I really became disgusted with expectations, because that's coming from you, and that's not what the other person's about, right?
Yeah.
And standards are what they're about, and because they have what is needed that they must do. Expectations you're making up in your mind for them, you know. Now, number four is accept responsibility for your actions, times always. Number five, come to terms with your spirituality, times always, whatever your spirituality is. Number six, be compassionate,
Hmm.
times always. Number seven, don't take things personal and be empathetic, times always. Number eight, neither failure nor success is forever, times always. And then the last one, number nine, don't boast about your success. Let others do it. Because if you're good enough, they will. Times never. Never boast about yourself.
That's a great one. How did you come up with
Unless
those
they ask
nine
you for an
points?
introduction on a podcast, you got
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to.
How did you come up with those 9 points? Those are awesome.
Oh gosh, Jeff. Years. I used to keep a notebook on my end table next to my bed. If I got an idea, I'd write it down. Because Jeff, I've been mediocre in everything in my life. I'm mediocre. I'm a mediocre dude. I have no
I disagree
great.
with you. I
Well,
disagree
you
with that.
can, but I have no great. There's nothing great about me. So I had to. You know how they say hard work beats talent. I don't even believe hard work beats talent, because I could work as hard as I want, and I'm not beating some dude. I could work as hard as I want playing basketball. I can't beat LeBron. But I'll tell you what, I better work as hard as I can to be mediocre. I believe we must work as hard as we can, even if it means just to be average. So that's how I look at myself. But so I mean, even with football clinics, Coach Versillo used to go to clinics as a young guy with a coach named Tom Olivadotti, who was the defense coordinator with the Dolphins at one point, coached many colleges and things. Matter of fact, his brother, they're from Long Branch, was our receivers coach at FDU. Loved them. Um, but he said, listen, you see those coaches over there going out after the workshop at 8 o'clock when the last one's over, going out partying, drinking, just to be happy to be away from their wives and everything else. He goes, I go back to the room and I type up all the notes that I took at that clinic workshop and I put them in a notebook and I keep them organized for when I need to go to them.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, as a young coach, that stayed with me, not just with football stuff, with everything, every little thing. If I had a thought in my mind when I was driving, I had to get it down somehow. Now, and then the iPhone, they had the notes section.
Yep.
Where now, and you can even put it on when you're driving because you don't want to type, you don't want to text when you're driving. You got the microphone, you put it right in there.
Yeah.
If an idea comes across, I throw it in there, and it's just an accumulation. By that time, Jeff, it was 24 years of coaching things that you fail so much.
Yeah.
You fail so much.
Yeah.
And I ain't speaking for everybody because there's some great winners out there, but you fail so much that you learn, and you better learn, because I also don't agree with the thing, you never lose, you just learn. Bull donkey. You lose when you lose, but you better learn when you lose. So that's where everything came
That's
from,
awesome.
Jeff. And I'll tell you what, at 58 years old, I wish I don't look back on anything and wish this or what I would, the thing about what would you tell your 18-year-old self? I wouldn't tell him nothing because he wouldn't listen to a damn thing I told him. I was just like these kids now. They ain't gonna listen to me. And then when you're 30, you go back and say, you were right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't even bother telling my 18-year-old self nothing.
They won't listen.
You know?
So where
No.
where can
So
we
that's
get
where
the
these came from.
all right. So
And
where can
and
people get the books?
they're on Amazon.
Are they
You
on
just
Amazon? So
Yeah,
just
Amazon,
rip out
Amazon.com.
just say the titles again real quick.
It was Be Tough, but Don't Be a Tough Guy,
Right?
and Right Now. So I mean, if you Google Craig Cicardo Sr., you can,
It'll come up.
in Amazon, they'll come up in Amazon.
You're gonna become a bestseller now.
No, no. I'm going to tell you what. And you know what? I didn't. It never even. What it was about was just. How people always say, "Man, when I write my book."
Yeah.
Well, are you really going to write it? So I never said, "Man, when I write my book." But I
Well,
said,
your book, it's from what I'm hearing, and I can't wait to read it, is every high school and college coach should read your book.
I appreciate that.
How many years have you been coaching now?
Going on 36.
36 years of high school and college coaching experience wrapped up in a book. I mean, that's
Small book.
it doesn't matter. But if I'm a young coach, I'm like, I want to hear what this guy has to say. I want to hear about I want to hear what's in his mind.
I will tell you one thing, Jeff, that really was pretty cool, and it was shocking to me because, like you said, like I say, I'm just a pretty mediocre dude. A kid comes up to me, we helped him do something right at the end of the year. Came knocking on my door, comes in, asked me a question, and he pulls out the book and he goes, "Would you mind signing this for me?" I was like,
That's cool.
my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Kid, you're reading this thing," and then he was like, "What compelled you to write it?" and things like that. And I basically, he good kid,
Yeah.
but it was shocking to me. Earlier in the year, a teacher did tell me, "Hey, I got a kid in class. He's reading your book." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I thought that thing was, archaic now. But so what I did, Jeff, is I keep the manuscript of it. I guess the
Yeah.
8.5 by 11 copy of it in the bottom of my desk at school, and started reading it the last day of school. Kids are taking exams and things like that. I started reading a little bit and I'm going, dang, it's 11 years later. I'm like, dang, this this book might be better for now
Yeah.
than it was in 2014. But and
You're going to go on a speaking tour.
well, no,
I'm telling you, we're going to get you out there on a speaking tour.
well, um, I did that the year I was off. I spoke to a couple football programs. Matter of fact, our teacher we had a sports and society class in school. I would go in there and I would speak to them about, I'd cut up the book and I'd put it on PowerPoint and talk about certain
Yeah.
parts of it for them and things like that. And they were really good about the kids. I was shocked. I thought they'd be falling asleep, and they were really good. And they had some questions. Kids, they surprise you all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't. Again, it's a small book from a small mind of just things that
But
that was fortunate to experience.
small book, small mind, big impact.
Well,
That's the way you look at it. That's the way I look at it. I don't think small mind. I think of a guy with a hell of a lot of experience who's been impacting thousands of kids, and it's going to continue to go.
well, that's nice. That's but the other thing too, and coaches, when we think about it, these kids impact us too. We
Yeah.
learn as much from our players,
Sure.
and it goes into this stuff. What we learn from our players, because
Yeah.
names change, faces change, but a lot of them are. You could say I had a guy like him 5 years ago. I had a guy
Yeah.
like him 7 years. I had a guy like him 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You remind me of so and so.
Yeah.
Just around the world now, things are different. Cell phones, blah blah blah, things like that. Heck, if we had cell phones back then, we'd have
Oh
this
my God.
thing. We'd have, again. I don't know if I'd be on this with you. I don't know if I. If, but
Well,
it's we gotta believe in the kids, and our
yeah.
responsibility is to support them the best we can and not give up on them, and not be pointing the finger at, oh, we did it back this way and this way. Now
Yeah.
granted, we did drink from a hose.
Yeah.
We didn't drink smart water, but
Yeah.
but come on, we did whatever was new back then. We all had the Mattel football game.
Yeah.
you know
Oh yeah.
what's the difference between that and the games they get? Just because there's a more advanced,
Right.
they're not, we're better than that.
Yeah.
No, we would have,
Yeah.
whatever came, we would have taken. So I don't know if I'm getting off track here,
No,
but
it's
the,
good.
the last part of the book, Jeff, is what it's fun. And I was a history teacher too. I was a history major. So section 5 was the 25 thesis. Kind of like, how Martin Luther nailed that thing to the church. His
Yeah.
90 had a 25 thesis about taking care of right now as an athlete, as part of something,
Mm.
as a and I use the word in a positive sense, a follower, a good follower, not a follower of bad peer pressure, but a follower of good peer pressure and of solid coaching and teaching and parenting. You know, um, I don't know if you want me to read them. There's 25 of them. Um,
Yeah. Rip them off.
you want me to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do it real quick. And remember, now this is each one is its own thesis, but then it goes to explain. It's the standard of how. It
Yeah.
tells you how it must be done. But anyway, number 1 is understand what your coach expects and unconditionally accept those expectations. Number 2, you are not the coach, so don't worry about what the coach has to worry about. Number 3, don't talk about how things, quote unquote, should be done. Just do your job. Number 4, accept constructive criticism and use it to get better. Number 5, be your own worst critic. You be your own worst critic. Number 6, from report time, do everything asked of you without complaint until it's time to go. And that, a lot of this goes into life, not just football or sports. Number 7, don't be judgmental. Think about it. Really? And that's what it is. Don't be judgmental. Think about it. Really? And then it goes into, basically take care of your own backyard, things like that. And number 8 is look in the mirror.
Mm,
Look in the mirror. Number 9, take care of your own backyard. Number 10, this one's big. Expect to be treated fair. And what is fair? Free from bias, dishonesty, or injustice.
mm,
But do not expect to be treated equal, because that, talent, effort, production, and right now is what separates us, is why we are not equal. Talent, effort, production, and living the standards of right now. We do say we are like snowflakes. I'm not saying every single person is the same. Number 11, be the player that you would want on your team if you were the head coach. Be the player
it's
you
a
would
big
want
one.
on your team if you were the head coach. Number 12, never criticize a teammate. Help them, show them, correct them. Number 13, before you declare a teammate not doing their job, think about if you were doing yours perfectly. Number 14, don't ask for less work and more free time. Ask for more patience and strength. Number 15, improving a bad situation starts with you. Improving a great situation starts with you. Number 16, don't blame anybody but you for your misfortune. And don't let anyone talk you into pointing the finger, especially you. Number 17, no matter what responsibility you have, consider it a privilege to be a part of the team. And this is one thing that we believe in, and we tell our team. We believe that there is an I in team. The I is I will do my job.
Mm,
Number 18, we're all part of something, just as our eyes, ears, and limbs are part of us. When one part isn't working correctly, it hurts. You got 11 out there. 11 better be doing it right, or we're going to be hurting. Number 19, have empathy for others, even if they don't have it for you. And that's, sometimes that may not be true, but have empathy. Number 20, on breaks, when we take a walk, get your wind, get your water, then get back to work. Don't lose your focus. Number 21, don't complain about your life to your teammates. Number 22, if you are cold, wear a long sleeve shirt. If you're hot, wear short sleeves. No complaining, no whining. Number 23, it's not about you. Nobody's bigger than any institution or organization. In caps, nobody. Number 24, carry yourself like the camera is always on, because it is, especially today. And then the last one, thesis number 25, I go into the last part of it, love and trust. Love and trust each other. And when we use the word love, we tell our guys, we ain't talking about romantic love. We're talking about a deep understanding of your responsibility to each other. That's love.
right.
And and then the last thing I did is I talked about a tiger. It's called the last section is the eye of the tiger, and a tiger not knowing, like a tiger doesn't have anything about, he just wants to sleep and eat, and that's all the tiger focuses on. He doesn't worry about what the other tigers are thinking about him. He doesn't worry what the lions and the zebras are thinking about. All that tiger's worried about is getting done what he needs to get done, what he's programmed to get done, what his purpose is. We all got one, even though, I know that's probably a whole thing about figuring out and finding your purpose. But, that's how I'll finish up with the eye of the tiger, having the eye of the tiger, and what, not Rocky's definition, what we put together over the years with the eye of the tiger is. So, but I
That's
hope
all.
that didn't take up too much, Jeff. I hope
that
that didn't
was
take up too much time.
no, Craig. That was awesome. So all the videos that you do
Yes.
are these topics from come out of your books and all this stuff?
Some will. Some will. As a matter of fact, there's been times that I've felt like doing one of those a day for 25 days, doing one of the thesis for
Yeah.
a day, because what the videos are. I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. I went on LinkedIn because of the book, and I was never on social media. And the only reason I'm on Twitter and Instagram is because when I read the contract to be the head coach of the Warriors, it said you must promote the program on social media, Twitter, and
All
I'm
right.
like, and I got all nervous. I was like, oh no. I like LinkedIn. It's all professional people over there and this and
Yeah.
that. They call it a business. Although
Right.
it's evolved to, people do now include, their family life and things like that. There's still those that are, this is a business site.
Yeah.
Um, but so, I dipped my toe in Instagram and Twitter the reason is now I said, well, I'm not a good marketer. Like I can't market books. I can't do stuff like that. I couldn't market my book.
You're
I
doing a good job right now.
Oh, well, that's because you got it. I don't talk about it. Like people would
Right.
come. Remember Harry Flaherty, great. He's the FCA leader here in New Jersey, and he was a pro athlete, a college football player. Um, and he came into school one time and after the book, and he told one of our teachers, like, hey, did you know he wrote a book? And I mean, no one knows because I'm not gonna, it's not something that I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to just put it out there, and whoever, and that's what I do online. Those videos, they're for our guys, they're for our recruits to know every day what our program is about. This
Yeah.
isn't a renegade, come play junior college football. We are not, last chance you.
Right.
No, not here. You know, we as far as we're concerned right now, we're Division II, Division III football players, and we run it like a Division III football program the best we can.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is, for us. And then it just, and then some people, and I appreciate it when people from outside of football chime in. It's probably, and there's a lot of bad people though out there in Instagram
Yeah.
and Twitter.
You find
And
them everywhere, right?
yeah, yeah. So, but so now, and now I got to do it. Now I got to do it. 'Cause there's people, they'd ask Rob Davis, head coach down at Egg Harbor Township, great friend of mine. He ran the Shore Football Report and things like that around here. And, guys would ask him, they're like, because, and even our old players, they're like, wow, coach would never have done that. We're talking about the
Right.
modern day guys. And
Yeah.
they're like, is that coach?
Yeah.
Actually, because honestly, me, and that's why I love my time coaching at home here at Lacey. We didn't we didn't have to advertise it. We had a shirt that said Lacey football. Those are my favorite. That's it. No
Yeah.
saying on the back, no nothing. People know Lacey football for Lacey football, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing is now, even, I love, it's funny, one of our coaches says, you're so New York Yankees, coach. You're so New York Yankees, because, I won't go out with a beard. I won't put on a hat on.
Yeah.
No sunglasses when you're taking pic. No sunglasses on. Things, little things like that where I'm still very tight and old school.
Right.
That's like talked about earlier. That's just for the standards for myself.
Yeah.
And that's where, some old guys that we keep those standards for ourselves, we could get lost if we didn't let the kids have a little bit of their own identity at times. If we didn't allow our assistant coaches to have a little bit of their own identity at times. But
Right.
what we ask is they have that identity within our standards.
Right.
Right. And is it right? Bottom line, is it right? And if it is, that's okay.
That's
You
it.
know, we're
That's a
not going
big
to let
stand.
them.
The word standard is big, big,
Yes.
and some people just don't have standards. It's like whatever happens, happens,
Well, and that's, and there's also and God bless them, but I can never be like this,
No.
where it's all about that win,
Right.
and it's also, I tell myself again, that might be, like I say, I use the word mediocrity is more important to me. That culture is more important to me. And we ain't winning if we're doing it wrong. The only
Right.
way we're winning is if we're doing it right.
Right.
And I don't believe in that old saying, the old if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yeah.
No. If
That's
you're
silly.
cheating, you're doing it wrong,
Right.
and you're winning wrong, and somehow it's going to get you.
It'll come back to bite you.
It will, and that winning will get taken away, and it has
Yeah.
happened. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So here's another question for you. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Is you just talked about so many cool things.
I'm sorry. I'm probably all over the map. I'm sorry.
No, this is good. This is great, man. I'm enjoying every second of this. This is fun for me.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
you said that you said a couple of times old school, old school, old school.
Yes.
What advice would you give to the young high school player of today's world
Hmm.
thinking about playing at the next level? What could you tell them about being prepared and being ready? And then also, what on the coaching side, you got the young guys coming out of school, coming out of college, or whatever, wherever they're coming from. What can you give them about uh, coming into the coaching world?
Okay. Well, first the players, and this is a new one. It came out of nowhere. Uh, we had a kid sitting in one office about, and he had to miss something, this and that. And I looked at the kid because this definitely copied from Coach Gruden. He'd be like, "You love football," and for years that was, "You love football," and tell me why you love football. And some love it, wear the jersey on Friday in school and be under the lights on Friday
Mhm.
or on the field on Saturday. Some, it's football bites them like the vampire and it becomes part of their blood. And I said, "Do you love football?" "Yeah, I love football." I said, "What do you love about it?" "Well, we get to hit and things." And I said, "Okay, but know this. If you're going to go to college and you're going to play ball, you better not just love it. You got to live it. You got to live it." And what I told them living it was not just out there between the lines, even just at practice, never mind 7 o'clock on a Friday night, but you got to live that thing every day of your life. Because it doesn't matter what sport you play in high school, you'll be identified as a football player, especially when you do wrong. And I said, living the game is doing right all the time. That doesn't mean doing it all the time, but it means it being football. It means doing right in everything you do at home, in the community, in the classroom, in school, in the hallways. It doesn't matter. Understand that that is all part of the game, especially in a big time college level, right?
Oh yeah.
There's probably 300 students that got traffic violations, but the media is not going to talk about that. They're going to talk about the 23 traffic, uh, whatever, tickets that this team got. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and doesn't matter if they're going 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. They make it seem like it is so detrimental, which it is. But living the game is not just playing it, not just loving to play it. It's taking everything in. And if you're going to go to college, if you're going to be a Division I football player, well, and I ain't never been in the military, and absolutely mean no disrespect to compare it to, because I always also say that football ain't war. I don't like when people say, "Let's get ready to go to war." No, we're
Right.
not going to go to war. We're going to play a game.
Play a
It ain't
game. Yep.
Monopoly. It's a violent game, but it ain't war. But anyway, but the daily lifestyle is you're getting up at a certain time.
Yeah.
You may got to be in the weight room. You got to be in breakfast. Then you got to go to your classes. Then you got to come for a 1 o'clock meeting. Then you got to go get something to eat. And then you got to go to practice. And then after practice, you got to go to the training room. And then you got to go home and do your homework. And then you got to turn the lights off and go to bed and then wake up and do it the next
Do it
day.
again.
Maybe you have 10 minutes to see your girlfriend,
Yep.
right? So loving football is different than living football. And again, that becomes the separation of playing high school football and playing college football. And the Division II and Division III levels have become more intense as
Oh yeah.
well over time. There's things they can't do. I mean, I know in Division III, we can't even ask a kid how he's doing in the weight room, right? Only the strength coach can tell us how they're doing. We can't talk to them about their off season. And again, it's been 3 years since I was in the Division III level, but You can't do that. You got to stay away from all that off-season stuff.
That's crazy.
You get spring ball for 1 month. You got them in Division III. Otherwise, they're in someone else's hands. So they better be living those standards. And the best programs, the hands that they're in, they also preach the standards of the program you are. Which is I'll never forget Coach Urban Meyer talking about the people when he took the job at Florida, the people who were scooping up soup and putting it in a bowl as they were going down the line in the dining hall. They better be speaking the same language as the coaches. Those kids need to be hearing whatever's being said in the coach's office, to the locker room,
Everywhere.
to the training table, everywhere. So, kid, you want to play college football? You better get ready to live like that. And the thing is, Jeff, we don't like to lie to our guys. Even assistant coaches, when at other places, the place we're at is a little bit different. What I tell these guys is this ain't gonna be like anything you ever experienced. But at other places, I would tell our coaches, listen, man, this ain't easy. This ain't, you come here, show up, and we gave them their life, and we don't micromanage. And I actually do a lot of things. I won't ask as a high school head coach, I wouldn't ask the guys to do more than they needed to, because that stipend doesn't put food on the table for them.
Right.
But, the coaches would know these are our standards. And I'm telling you right now, don't come in unless you can comply with these musts. As coaches, number one, we ain't cussing at these kids. If you can't go around not cussing at the kids, don't come coach with us, And meanwhile, I tell the kids, it's funny, I like to joke around that whatever program I leave, there's always 20 more kids playing the year I left. If there were 50 when I was there, 70 as soon as I left. And as a head coach, I tell the kids, tell the high school kids, listen, this ain't easy. This is the hardest thing you might do in your life up till now, up until you're 15 years. This might be the hardest thing you've ever done. I'm not going to lie to you. I never went around the hallways and told kids they should be playing, you should be playing football, you should be doing this. Occasionally, once in a while, but you do this long enough, you can look at a kid in the eyes and know if he's a football player. You can look in their eyes. And we wanted guys that were all there, all in. No, you know how they say you cut the fat off the steak, off the side? No, we tell them from the get-go what our standards are. And if you can't, then don't be a part of it. And
I love that, be all in and you're gonna live football. If you're not ready to live it, you're in for a rude awakening.
That's right.
Right.
And and then you get into the whole thing, people talking about quitting and stuff like that. And that's a whole nother topic. But it's about kids, athletes, high school athletes, every sport, Jeff.
Yeah.
If you want to play college sports, you better live your game.
Yeah. Be ready to live it.
Now, yep. And on the other hand, here's another point. I don't know if this is a topic or part of your questions, but I'll say it. I posted about it one time. We got coaches that tell kids that they should be playing one sport. We got coaches telling kids, you should be playing them all. They're both doing it. Those coaches are doing it and I don't want to say for themselves, but they're doing it because they want to have a great athlete that can win. You know what I mean? So, coaches, get yourself out of there of telling kids what to do and let them play because they want to and they love it and it's fun for them.
Right.
When I was young, I never played a game because a coach came up to me and said, hey, you should be doing this. Never. We played because we loved it. We played because we played in the park, with our friends. And if we liked it, we liked it. That's where we found out if we liked it, And now I understand, especially football is a little tougher. You see a big kid, you want to say, hey, You play ball, but if a kid decides he only wants to play one sport, he may not like your sport, coach.
Yeah.
Let him
Yes.
be.
Right.
He's going to come out for your team. He may quit. He may become derogatory within your program and
You
be,
may
I hate
hate
the
every
word,
minute of
but
it.
be cancerous,
Yeah. He'll hate every minute of
because
it.
he's in there just for fun. He doesn't love. He's just playing because he was flattered that you asked him to play. So I think I say it. I think we need to chill on that. Just let the
Yeah.
kids do what they want.
Yeah.
Stop telling them play one, don't concentrate on one. Because if they want to concentrate on one and it came from them, God
Let him
bless.
do it. Yeah.
God bless them. If they want to play three and football coach, you want him in the weight room, too bad. He's going to go out and he's going to wrestle or he's going to play basketball and compete.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel strongly about as well. Let the kids do what they want to do. You know,
Yeah.
um,
That's great.
you know.
Well, how about this? As
Go
far
ahead.
as setbacks, let's talk from a coaching perspective.
Yep.
You've been in the business for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of setbacks have you faced, in your coaching career? Anything?
All right.
You have a laundry list there?
You prepared me for this question. No. How I faced anything that was challenging. Should I use that word?
Yes.
That was like a heartbreak or a letdown. And I'm going to say I wrote you a note that some questions may not be for me because I'm a little bit different. Like I said, I have a standard for myself. When let down, I was faced with something that let me down. I just said, suck it up, move on, work harder. You ain't that good anyway. So try and get yourself a little bit better if you can.
Mm,
And that may be wrong. And that's not for everybody, Jeff. That's for me. So I really can't answer that for others. I can only answer that for me
yeah.
is be having failed so many more times than have had success. This is people will say this too, like show me a guy that knows how to lose and I'll show you a loser. Well, I'm okay with knowing how to lose
You learn from it.
because you better lose right and you better lose with dignity and you better know how to lose because you ain't always gonna win. And coaches talk about just talk about win, just talk about no, we better teach them how to lose as well because they're gonna. And
Right.
when we mean how we lose, uh, Coach Saban was disappointed how some of his guys, and I was so happy when he said this because it's I mean that's just the way I feel. Again, losing so much is he was disappointed in how his players that were part of that Bama program, that proud tradition, that proud process, how they handled losing that game. Champions handle losing like champions. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
you're a champion, if you're a champion, you lose like a champion, not a baby.
I
Bottom
love
line.
that. I love that.
I don't know if those are the setbacks you're talking about, but I never had any setbacks because I would never allow myself to get injured. That's the best I can say. I'd talk myself out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
even now as an old man, if there's something wrong, I'm working it out somehow. I ain't going to the doctor, you know. it's,
Yeah.
it's just and again, just sometimes I talk to myself and I'm like, well, you know, that's why where you are right now, and you're not at Notre Dame or wherever, is because you
Well,
just
I mean, you're where you're at for a reason,
yep, exactly,
and
exactly,
it's not everybody should be at Notre Dame.
right.
Like because the kids you're touching, the coach at Notre Dame will never touch. You know.
Well, it's funny sometimes when they say, what do they say? When teams are having a bad season, right? They go, "Oh, coach, don't worry about it. Vince Lombardi couldn't even coach these guys." It's like that goes against the whole coaching
Right.
creed. We take
Exactly.
responsibility for everything.
Oh,
Yeah, even
God.
Lombardi couldn't coach these guys. There's so many, just hypo- hypocritical things.
Yeah.
There's a yin and a yang to
For
every
everything. Everything.
quote,
Yeah.
to every belief, to every
Yeah.
philosophy. There's a yin and a yang, Jeff. And it just cracks me up. So you know what people need to do? They need to concentrate on what works for them.
Yep.
Stop trying reaching out for what other people do and how they do it and how they believe. Set yours in stone, make it your standard, adjust when necessary. You know, like I talk about having to adjust with old age to the young
Yeah.
guys, you know,
Not easy.
but stay. There are, I believe, timeless standards that, regardless of technology and progress and changes going on, NIL, Jeff. You know,
Yeah.
the I my coaches and I, we look and we're like, now you know what we're going through. We don't know who's going to be on our team from year to year. We're getting different kids every year. In 2 years they're out,
Yep.
1 year they're out, and we got a whole new crew coming in. You know, and the big boys, they got to get used to this now. You know, and bottom line, Teddy Bruschi said something a long time ago. He said, "I don't. Doesn't matter what the rules are. You just tell us what the rules are, and we'll play and
Yeah.
we'll win." That's what
Yeah.
Teddy Bruschi said.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's okay for me to quote great guys like that, but
Why not? Why not?
there's something in that. There's something in that. Just tell us what the rules are, and
And let's go.
we'll fit in and we'll do it. All
Yep.
right, what guys can go in the portal? Okay, let's go.
That's it.
I've I've gained a great respect for Coach Lane Kiffin because he's adjusted better than anybody.
Yeah.
He may not be for the NIL, but he's doing what he's responsible for as a head coach within what the rules
The
say he
rules.
can
Yep.
do. And then as far as what everybody else do, what they must do. All right, so this is what we must do. Then we're going to do it the best.
Yeah.
If we can't do it, tell us we won't do it. But if we can do it, and this is what is being done, and the legislation is telling us how we do it, then we're going to do it. That's it.
Be the best at it.
Don't complain about it. Just go get at whatever the rules say. What, they changed the speed limit from 55 to 45? Well, now you can only do 45
That's it.
with everything. You know,
So how
Jeff.
about this? How about this
Go
question?
ahead.
This is a good one. Tell me, describe or tell me when coaching itself
Mhm.
has brought out the best in you.
It may be right now. It may be right now. Because it's all new to me. And, I even told our guys at the meeting and our new players at our meeting in June, let them know. I said, how we do things is how we do things. And we are sticking to our standards. And we don't make crazy changes, because something failed one time. We're going to stick to it and get better at it. And I said, there's some things here that are going to be different than even coming from your high school programs. I said, and the way we do some things here, me personally, I've dimed things down from other places because this is a different situation. And it's a great situation, but different. And I told the players, I said, these coaches, our coaches, may look at me like, why is he handling like that? Like I'm nuts sometimes. However, with the situation we've been in now for going on 3 seasons, is I think it's given me a handle on how to work with this program. And it's tough for other people to swallow the things that have to be done sometimes, but
Right.
that's how we got to do it. You know, um, I I'm not going to rip a kid. I'm going to put my arm around him and in his ear hole sternly tell him something. I'm not going to front of the whole team, things like that.
Yeah.
Things things like things like being on time for practice. We don't have a campus. Our kids drive to practice. Some drive an hour and 15 minutes, 4 days a week to practice after class. And Jeff, what I love about it is these guys have all believe in it.
Yeah.
They'll send me text messages at 5 to 6 of the traffic on Route 295. And they'll be like, Coach, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. Look, and they'll show me the picture of the traffic just so
Yeah.
I believe them.
Right.
But I'm to the point now where I don't have to believe them because I believe in them. I don't have to believe them. I believe in them when they come to understand our culture. Little small things like that, where it was back at Lacey High School. What are you like? What are you doing?
That's
And that's just one example, Jeff. Does that answer your
yeah.
question?
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
We,
that's
we, we had to. It's got to be different, and I mean, it's drive to practice. We practice from 6 to 8 at night. It's not their parents driving them to
yeah,
practice.
it's them.
That it's them, and our standard for them is to be a man and do things right, and
That's awesome.
that's the bottom line. And you know they know, you know they know, and so personally have learned so much over the last 3 years from our players, and they are great kids. Yesterday, my wife's friends are up from Louisiana. It was their last day, so we took them up to the seaside boardwalk, and I'm sitting on the bench. We took two different cars because my wife was out to lunch with her friends and her friends, and I'm sitting on the bench, and this seaside police officer. I look over. I'm on the phone with my wife. I look over, and he's staring at me with a look on his face, and I'm like, "Wait, whoa, whoa."
Was he one of your guys?
I know that dude. Yeah, yeah. He was one I had to give a recommendation to for good job, and
Oh,
he came
beautiful.
over and just a proud moment, just to see him there doing that, and that's what he wants to do now.
Yeah.
He wants to be a police officer. So
Right.
he's there as I'm sure you're familiar with down the shore. You have
Yeah.
officers down there, and then he's
Yeah.
going to the academy, and then he's going to be a full-time police officer. And I'm so proud of him.
That's awesome.
And it was so great, just things like that.
Yeah.
And that's they what they like to say is, coaches that don't win that much, don't win championship. They say, "Oh, it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids." Well, it really is. It is all
Yeah.
about the you know it's tough to keep a job at the high level, the high college level, NFL, if you ain't winning.
Right.
um, so it's not a popular thing to talk about it being about the people, but regardless, it's about the people.
Right.
It's about the people. And I mean, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Andy Reid does. Coach Reid, I don't have a right to call him Andy. Coach Reid has I mean, he's got his thumb on that program, and only he knows. And I knew when Kelsey had loud words for him,
Yeah.
and everybody was going to make a big deal out of that. But those are the things that I'm talking about here with you, Jeff. Is
Yeah.
only Kelsey and Coach Reid know about that situation. So all y'all mind your own business.
Right.
They're with each other every day. That's like that's like a son and a father at the dinner
Yeah.
table.
That's a great and perfect analogy for that.
So stop trying to make something out of nothing.
Nothing.
That's football, and that's manhood as well. The authority, the elder statesman, he was the adult in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And great player. He said what he had to say, and this and that. Coach Reid knows who he is and how competitive he is and
Yeah.
everything else about him. It's Coach Reid's responsibility to handle him, not the journalists, not the media,
Yeah.
not the public, not Twitter, not anything else. Mind your own
Right.
business, y'all. That's why they're Super Bowl champs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
So,
hear you. So a couple more questions around that.
yeah.
So this is all from a coaching perspective.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys are on your team, roughly?
How many?
Yeah.
Okay. When we first got to the program, we started out, probably had 34. Last year, we had 37. This year, we have 28 new kids signed up, ready to go, got their equipment, got their things, and 16 returners. We're up to 44.
Wow.
We don't want to be at more than, we really don't want to be more at 45. You know,
Yeah.
50 would be, but the thing is, we're a 2-year program. So
Right.
we'll look at it as if we're a 4-year program. I know the NJAC at times, some of the teams at TCNJ, 105 was the limit. So take 2 grades from that, it's about 50, right?
Right.
52 and a
Right.
half. I don't want to sound like I don't know
Yeah.
math. I don't, but
Yeah.
all right. So 50 guys
50 guys.
would be
Perfect.
100.
Yeah.
Us being at us being at 40, 45. Holy cow. That's
That's great.
perfect. You know,
That, you know what that means, Craig?
and our guys are even now. It's gotten to the point, they're going to college. We should play one side of the ball. Our guys, they want to play both sides.
Yeah.
We will accommodate that. When and it gets more as the season gets deeper with injuries and things like that, where some guys. So we make sure that in the preseason that we're preparing everybody to be able to play the position on the side of the ball as well as special teams that they can. You know,
That's a
like you said, whole different world.
whole different world. So of those 50, roughly 50 guys,
Yep.
some of them have issues, challenges,
Sure.
at home, mental stresses, anxieties.
Guys at Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Notre
Yep.
Dame,
Yeah.
Alabama do too.
Yeah. They all do. Every team's got them.
Yep.
So you're my first coach on the show. From a coaching's perspective, a young man comes to you with whatever.
Yep.
How do you handle that?
Like a dad.
All right.
That and Jeff, I see it in young administrators. I see it in young coaches. The change in them when they become a father.
Right.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Holy cow. They coach those young men like they would coach their own kid.
Yeah.
And they also coach those young men like their mama would want them taken care of. That's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And when they come with those issues, well, we tell them beforehand. We tell them in the June meeting, anything you need to talk about, have to talk about, what's bothering you. We let them know that our community colleges here in New Jersey, we have a mental health program within each community college. Matter of fact, one of the men who was involved in it, he was a defense coordinator in high school for years, and I love the guy. And I tell our guy, I give them his name right away. I'm like, get to him on campus, sit down and talk with him. If it's family things, all kinds of things. Jeff, I mean, I I bought diapers for I didn't. My grandchild was older, so my son and daughter-in-law had some diapers that were a size less for one of our players. Diapers for
Yeah.
him to have for his you know what I mean? Things like
Yeah.
that.
I
You
felt,
step
hey,
off that field, you step away from scheme, you step away from football. It's what I talk about.
yeah.
Live football.
Hey,
You know?
what you just said, I just wrote this down. Coach like a dad, it's your responsibility.
Yeah, that's it.
That's huge.
Mhm.
Because some of I'm not pointing any fingers at any coaches or any.
Well, now I don't want to interrupt, Jeff, but let me put a definition on dad. It's my old school Leave It to Beaver, Happy Days, Mr. C dad.
You're right.
It's not dad that wants to be friends and go drinking with
I
his
hear you.
kids and have the kids over and have a party at his house.
Yep.
So, I mean, that probably goes unsaid here,
Yeah.
but just to make sure.
Yeah. That's how I took it. That's what I read from it.
Yeah.
But there's some, there's coaches out there that, hey, when the kids are out of the locker room and they're out of the sight, they're out of mind.
No, can't be.
You know,
Can't be.
you know.
It can't be. You got I'm gonna tell you something right now. I even and I called the other day. I had a problem with my jet ski the other day, a couple weeks ago, and we had a kid who left us in spring because he got a job full time working down in Cape May as a jet ski mechanic, and he decided I'm not going to go to school now. I'm going to go to trade school, and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not like, no, kid, you go
Yeah,
to college, you stay, keep playing this. You can only do this once in your life. No,
right.
I shook his hand. I said, hey, man, you're a
Good luck.
man. You made your choice. And you know what? I think it's a good choice and good luck. And it killed me because he's a great player. But
Right.
that's what he wants. So I allowed him. Tell you what, trying to figure out people that could help me. I called him up. I said, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on. What do I do?
Right.
He gave me 2 things to do. I did one of them, fixed. I called him up to and it is so good to be able to do that. Like, you create relationships with life for life with these kids,
Yeah.
and not for them to be your friend, but for you to be there for them, and then to also let them know what they're doing now is pretty dang important. And
Yeah.
if you need them, you go to them, you know?
That's huge. Well, Craig, this has been great.
I
You know,
appreciate oh my
and
god. I ramble. I'm sorry,
nah,
Jeff.
this is
Okay,
what
a
it's all
long
about.
time.
There's no rambling. There's no time limit. We just go.
Okay,
You
I
know.
got you.
So
Okay.
so you know, is there anything else I haven't asked you? We haven't talked about that you think's important for people to hear or know?
Jeff, I'm gonna be honest, we got everything in that I think I mean, I don't know if there's much more that I could talk about, but if you brought up a topic, I bet I probably could.
Yeah.
But there's nothing else that I can
Well,
think
well,
of.
how about this one?
Yes.
Is I'm a junior college student. I want to play football. How do I get a hold of you?
Well, first off, you can go to warriorsnj.com. You know, it's one word, warriorsnj.com. Take a look at our website, and our questionnaire is on there. And you fill out that questionnaire, that shows your interest in our program. And what's going to happen is our GM who runs the program, he's going to give you a call and he's going to interview you. And number one, first question is, are you enrolled? Have you been accepted to a community college? Are you ready to take 12 credits? And you have transportation. And then, you know, we're gonna look at their huddle and things like that and try and gauge where they can play, evaluate them, and go from there. So that's it. Fill that questionnaire out. Also, which I get a lot, and I'll tell you what, the toughest thing for me is when they come from all over the country. I get a lot of guys on Twitter. Twitter is a great place to find us.
Hmm.
That's probably where the most players, recruits contact us, but also on Instagram. And they can find me on Instagram. I think it's Coach C underscore NJW. Coach C underscore NJW. And just just email me. Just DM
Right.
me there. It happens all the time. And Jeff, I gotta be honest, I even have a default on my notes that for people like in Iowa that want, you know, that, and I have to say, I really appreciate you reaching out, but understand that we don't play junior college football in New Jersey. We are one program for various community colleges. Our players go to their local community college. They live within 45 minutes to an hour of Jackson, New Jersey. Um, so unless you intend on living in New Jersey, it would be tough for you. We
Yeah.
appreciate you reaching out. Anything I can do for you, let me know. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
that's our
Yeah.
default.
Good.
So, but for the Jersey kids, we give them all attention. And Jeff, we get 28-year-olds, we get 27-year-olds, we get guys that played a year, went into service, want to come back, maybe start again. And of course we got to take a look at all the eligibility and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But we're an opportunity, Jeff. That's what we are. We're in like a little league they call it, but it's not about championships. It's not about the thing is we are here to help them develop academically and athletically to get where they want to be, where they belong. And again, that's another one of our different outlooks and how we run things is
Yeah.
we are a stepping stone for these guys. So we are here for them, and their responsibility is just to go along with our standards and believe in them. That's it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, hey, there's one thing you need to change
Go ahead.
is you can no longer say you're a mediocre guy.
Oh, I can't. I
No,
can't. It
no.
drives me, Jeff. It drives me.
You are far from mediocre. The things you've done, the things you're doing, the things you're gonna do, the lives you touch, the inspiration you provide, and the changes you're making in people's lives, it's priceless.
Well, I appreciate that.
You know, and I'm glad we met. And if you weren't putting those videos out there, you and I would have never met. So your marketing works. You know, it's definitely good.
Gotcha.
You know, but I appreciate you being on the show. I can't wait for this to go live and people to hear your story and the value you bring to everybody. And you know what? I'd love to have you back after the season's over. Let's talk about how it went, and we can use it as a recruiting tool to get more guys to come out and be part of the program,
I
and you can
appreciate that.
impact more guys.
I appreciate that, and I'm truly I'm honored to have been on here. It's again it's humbling. So
It,
thank you for asking me to be here.
my pleasure, and I can't wait to have you back.
All right, thank you so much,
You
Jeff.
got it.
All right, take care.